Hey y'all, I'm Angela Barrett, and this is Talking South Carolina. Now y'all take a load off and listen, because no matter if you just moved here, thinking about moving here, been here your whole life, or you just plain nosy, bless your heart, I'll have something for you. Like, who's living in High Cotton? Who's madder than a wet hen? Places to go if you got a hankering for fried chicken, and where you can go to get drunk as Cooter Brown. We'll talk pig pickings, cow tipping, tillions, hay rides, who's buttering whose biscuits, what's a case quarter, and lots of other stuff. So stay a while. Y'all, it's gotta be a hoot.
This episode of the Talking South Carolina podcast has been brought to you in part by HomeMattersSC.com, professional real estate services and marketing in the Midlands of South Carolina for people who want more. And now she's a realtor by day and a podcaster by night. Here's your host of the Talking South Carolina podcast, Angela Barrett.
I heard a lot about it, especially from a neighbor of mine, but hadn't had the chance to get out here, and this is pretty neat. I love this building. This is beautiful.
Thank you.
How long have you guys been opened?
So we've been open about 8.5 years now.
Oh, wow.
We actually started the project probably 3 years before that. A lot of research, and then we had a couple of years of construction and licensing too. And then we opened up December 26th of 2014.
Nice. So Hollow Creek Distillery, is that what we say? Is that how you say it? All right. So tell me what that is in essence. What are we doing here?
So we are basically all things distilled spirits. We've got a pretty broad product portfolio right now. We started out with moonshine. Actually, on day one, it was just clear moonshine. And then over the next little while, we added different flavors to make moonshine a little more approachable, and everybody likes flavored moonshine.
Yeah, sea salt caramel is my favorite.
It's a very popular one. And then we added other products as we went. So now we're up to essentially 4 distributed products. We have two brands of bourbon, one called William Allen and one called High Cotton. And we have a vodka, it's called Low Water, and we have a cinnamon whiskey called White Hot.
And I see the medals. So, but y'all won 2 awards just recently. I know one with the state and one with the Free Times, I guess, about the best. But what are these medals?
So these medals are a few competitions we entered last year in 2022. We've never really done spirits competitions before. So we decided last year that, hey, we'll kind of throw our hat in the ring too and just see how we stack up because, you know, all the really big distilleries enter these things. So we entered 3. It was the Los Angeles International Spirits Competition, San Francisco World Spirits Fair, and New York International Spirits Competition. And honestly, I thought we're going to enter, about 3 or 4 products in each of these. And if we win one medal somewhere, I'm going to be thrilled. So we surprised everybody, ourselves probably more than anybody else. And I think we ended up winning 14 medals altogether. We won several gold medals and actually a double gold medal at New York International.
Wow.
And that double gold means that it was a unanimous gold by all the judges.
Oh, wow. And all that was last year.
Yes.
Wow. Congratulations. That's impressive. Now, the, like I said, the state and the Free Times, I know those are just where people pick the best. And you won that last year.
Yeah. So we've won both of those the last 3 or 4 years running. We'll see how this year turns out. Voting's still open. It's certainly nice to win local awards.
Sure.
That's
the people who are buying it. That's right. So, you said you do a bourbon and a vodka and, what was the other?
So we have a cinnamon whiskey.
Oh, cinnamon whiskey.
Yep. And a second bourbon.
Okay. And then you have all the moonshine stuff. Yes. Well, that's cool. And how did y'all get started? I mean, what made you say, wake up one morning and go, let's make whiskey?
So there's a little bit of a family or a little bit of a story to it. I had a really good family friend who, if you think about your stereotypical moonshiner from the Discovery TV channel, I mean, it was this guy, all right?
In the woods, buried sore.
In the woods, overalls, the whole deal. And he essentially made moonshine in this area the majority of his life. He learned from his father, and they worked together for a while. So if you fast forward a lot, 2009, South Carolina passes a law that basically creates the permitting process, the structure for micro distilleries. And that's the permit we operate under as a micro distillery. Well, Lamar was the guy's name. He read about it in the newspaper right after the law was passed and kind of said, that's all I've really ever wanted to do. There's a little bit of a longer story to it, but essentially he and I talked about it a few times. I thought it was a really good idea. He kind of wasn't sold. He had dipped his toe in the water a little bit and said, well, maybe I am, maybe I'm not. And I said, well, look, I want to build it. So can you help us out? And that's where it started. At that point, we weren't really on the cutting edge of distilleries in South Carolina anymore. There were a few that had opened. A couple of them were struggling mightily already. So it was very obvious that this is, a hyper competitive business, and it's very easy to lose money in, which I wasn't interested in doing. So we did take about a year to figure out, just how do we want to get into the business and, kind of what we thought was a decent plan to not lose money. That after we convinced ourselves that, yeah, we can actually make a go of this. It took us 2 years to, find a property that we liked and build a functional facility. That's the other catch. You have to have a functional facility before you can get your permit. So it was a long road, but.
So now is where we are now, which is right by the lake, Hollow Creek right here. I guess that's, like you said, where you get the name from. Was this family land?
It was not.
It was not.
No.
Okay. Because there's a story of somewhere I read as before I got here about land that was passed down from King George or given by. So
you're probably reading my family story, and that we've been here forever. So I'm a name. It's a fairly big Lexington County name, I guess you would say. We have a 12-year-old son who is the 10th generation of my family right here. If you go all the way back, I think the story goes back to 1752. A guy by the name of Conrad Amick immigrated from Germany and settled in what was at the time the Dutch Fork area of South Carolina. Oh. It was the area between the Little Saluda River and the Saluda River. When he immigrated, it was himself, his wife, and one young son. And at the time, you could get a land grant for 50 acres per person. My family essentially started out with a 150-acre land grant between the Saluda and the Little Saluda Rivers. And we've been here ever since. I mean, that land is now flooded, but we are only a few miles from it. So we don't get out too much.
Too far.
That's funny. So you have to have this up and running before you get your permit. I think that's where we were before I took sidebar. Right? And you said that took about a year before you really...
Well, it took us a couple of years.
Years.
We started out, once we said, yes, we're actually going to do this and think we have a pretty good plan, we started, by looking for real estate. You asked if this was family land. It absolutely was not. So we looked around at what was available at the time, and, you get into Lexington County zoning and everything else. And this one just it fit very nicely for what we wanted to do. So being in real estate, it takes, and this property was actually fairly challenging to buy. It had several interests that, had to be run down. It was split 3 ways.
Oh, goodness.
2 of the gentlemen, I think, had passed away, and it was tied up in a couple of estates. It was challenging to buy this place. It took us a little time, but then after that, once we got it, it was, completely undeveloped. Like we started.
So none of this was here. It was woods.
None of this was here. It was wooded on a dirt road. We even got the luxury of paving the road. So with the
Oh, that was a fun job. Now, where did y'all come up with your logo? The Hollow Creek.
Hollow Creek Distillery logo.
Yeah.
So we have a good friend. So we were high school sweethearts. We went to Gilbert High School,
right.
And we have a good friend who also went to Gilbert High School with us, and she went on to be an art teacher actually in Lexington 1, and she helped us when we had this idea. She helped us design our Hollow Creek logo, and really some of our first labels she helped design. So it's been great.
Yeah. Now, the one with the dog, what is that, one of your dogs?
No, it is not actually.
So that is Gus. So there is Hollow Creek Kennels here. You're aware we're in the Hollow Creek area. This is right where Hollow Creek empties into Lake Murray, and so there's Hollow Creek Distillery, Hollow Creek Christmas Tree Farm, where you can go buy your Christmas trees at the season. And then there's Hollow Creek Kennels, and they raise champion Boykins. And so this is just a nod to us being in that area. And Gus was the granddaddy of the line of Hollow Creek Kennels. And so we decided also to honor our South Carolina heritage. Again, you can tell from my accent, we're from here. And so the Boykin Spaniel is the South Carolina state dog. So we decided to put that on the label as well.
Yeah, beautiful. So all of your labels have different, I mean, they're all not the same. I mean, you wouldn't even know unless you read it, I guess. That they are from, well, I guess it does. So the scrolling is the same. I was just trying to look at the labels and see, what would say if I was just walking by, oh, I know where that came from. But I guess it would be some of that. Yeah. It's neat.
Yeah. So the look and feel of some of the labels are the same, but they really are kind of standalone brands. That, our moonshine is basically Hollow Creek Moonshine. So it's pretty well identified, but these 4 brands are essentially what we distribute, and really they're standalone brands. Of course, if you look on the back, it's going to say distilled and bottled by Hollow Creek Distillery. And some of them have the same look and feel, especially the 2 bourbons.
Right.
You got kind of the antique or age look or something like that. But if you just walk into your local Red Dot store and see it and you're not familiar with us, there's nothing about it that screams, oh, Hollow Creek Distillery made that.
I gotcha. But they are beautiful. I mean, they really are. Now, y'all do a couple of things here. I know that you've got coming up a comedy night, which you've done before. Now, do you plan on continuing doing those?
Absolutely. So we've got one come up very soon, and then we'll continue those on in the future. They've been really well attended. We bring a comedian in here and have food truck outside, an open bar inside, and just enjoy that time. And folks like to come in and have a little relaxation and a couple of laughs.
Yeah.
At home.
And that's probably great for this area. I mean, there's not a lot in this direction. I know it's coming. I mean, because, Lexington's full.
Right. Everything's kind of moving this way, but you're right. There's just not a lot out there right now. So any chance that we can take to kind of, bring people together and have a good time, a night full of laughs. Yeah, the first time we did it, I wasn't sure if it was going to work, but it's been fantastic. So, yeah, we'll keep doing it.
And y'all are opened Thursday through Saturday first?
Right. So Thursday afternoon from 1 to 7, and then Friday and Saturday we're open from 10 to 7.
And y'all have tastings at some point where people can come in and taste?
Yep. Anytime we're open, stop by. And we've got the tasting bar set up. You're welcome to try anything you want.
That could be dangerous.
Well, we're limited with how much. You can get Uber. It's rather expensive, but you can.
And so what are other kind of things do you guys do, that we're bringing, like a group of people?
So we've done a few barrel releases for our bourbon. We've got some probably 3 or 4 more barrels that we're going to release as single barrels yet this year. We actually did a couple of pretty cool things with the last barrel we released. We had a barrel pick party. So we, sold tickets, let people come in, and we had kind of pre-selected 4 barrels, and we let everybody taste each of the 4 and then vote for which one they wanted us to barrel or bottle. And then the following week, we invited people back out to come help bottle that barrel.
Oh, neat.
So we had folks that, attended both, and then they essentially get the opportunity to say, hey, I helped pick this barrel, and then I bottled these bottles.
Yeah.
And so it gives you a little bit of a story to go along with your single barrel proof bourbon. So we'll do that probably at least 3 more times this year. And then we're also getting ready to kick off kind of a special release series. We're going to call it, I think Family Reserve is what we're going to call it. So we'll have Family Reserve releases. They'll be on some regular schedule. Right now we're thinking monthly, but I wouldn't chisel that in stone.
That's right. I get it. Now, I know y'all do something with people. I saw on Facebook, I think you did something with people's birthday.
We definitely celebrate birthdays here. So if you come in on a Saturday in your birthday month, you get a free bottle of our low water vodka. So we ask folks to come in and they can take a picture with their bottle, share it on social media, and let their other friends know that they can come in and do the same thing. So that's been a really positive thing. People love it. People always talk about that. So I know we were talking about some of the events that we've done. We have also done we've had live bands come out with food trucks and that kind of thing, and we will do that again as it gets cooler. Nobody wants to sit outside when it's 105 in the South Carolina summer, but we'll do that again, as well as we do free cocktail Saturdays. So one Saturday a month, if you happen to come in for your Saturday birthday bottle on the free cocktail Saturday, we do, we'll hand out. One of the biggest hills we had to climb when we just started with moonshine was, how do you mix this stuff? How do you make a drink with it? And so we've just continued, basically handing out a free cocktail, showing folks how to mix their drinks. And sometimes we do that with our moonshines, but then often we'll feature some of our bourbons or vodka as well. And so those are on the calendar as well, and give folks some drinks ideas and things that they can make at home. I'm certainly not Martha Stewart, so I'm not making anything really fancy. I'm not making anything fancy, but we're just trying to do something simple and something you can repeat at home and enjoy with friends.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great idea. Now, as far as the recipes, are they online anywhere?
So we do, after the fact, we'll share them on our social media. We have Facebook and Instagram. We do have a website, and we do periodically post some recipes there, but the majority of those are going to be on our social media platforms.
I gotcha. And if people want to know if you're the day you're going to have a food truck or band, they just need to follow the page and make sure they know when all that's going to happen, right?
Absolutely. So on Facebook and Instagram, we always post our events, as well as our website does have a page separate for events. So you can click on there and kind of see what's coming up if you want to plan your next couple of months. So that'll be on the schedule. One of our most popular cocktail Saturdays is, we usually do it the Saturday before Christmas. I think this year the Saturday before Christmas is the 23rd. So that's a little close to Christmas. So I think we'll do it the 16th this year. But we always share a cup of hot chocolate. And so for the adults that are over age 21, they get to choose whatever spirit they want to spike their hot chocolate with. And then for the kiddos, they get their just plain hot chocolate. And we always have marshmallows and whipped cream and sprinkles and all the things that you might near. Yeah. And every now and then Santa makes an appearance at this hot chocolate social and get it. So we'll have a lot of times we'll have a bloodmobile out here as well. We often host a bloodmobile so that folks can come in from the community and donate blood and don't have to go all the way to Lexington or Columbia to do that. So a lot of times they're out here so that you can do your good deed right there around the holiday season, as well as come in and grab a cup of hot chocolate.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. Now, y'all have some kind of frozen drink, according to my neighbor Bill. He dearly loves it. So what is that?
So on Saturdays during the summer, we make slushies basically.
Okay.
The flavors always change each week. It's just a matter of, kind of what we decide we want to make. And then we make 2 versions of each. We make a non-alcoholic one for anybody that's not interested in alcohol, or anyone under 21. And then we make the same slushies with vodka. So you can come in and get a spiked slushie. Those are really popular during the summer.
Yeah, I should have asked Bill what his favorite one was, but I failed to do that. But I know for a fact, is definitely in love with those. So
The lemonade and the peach are very popular flavors of the slushies that we've done so far.
the peach does sound good.
It's very tasty.
4th of July weekend, peach this Saturday.
Peach it will be a peach. We will have peach and lemonade this Saturday. Not sure what the third color or third flavor will be this weekend, but both of those will be. So, and you're going to talk about, non-alcoholic slushies for the kids as well as the cup of hot chocolate without alcohol for the kiddos. We're definitely family friendly, dog and dog friendly. We have our son is 12 now. He was 3 when we opened the business, and he's pretty much been raised here. A lot of times you'll see him hanging out in here, so definitely family friendly. And we actually just got a new dog within the last 2 or 3 months, and so you'll see him out here a lot of times on Saturdays as well. So
Phenomenal. But I know my son, for one, they're always looking for somewhere that they can take the dog with them, because they don't necessarily want to leave him locked up on a Saturday all day, while they're, going out. So the dog friendly is very important to a lot of people. What are your best-selling products?
So if you want to talk about moonshine flavors, certainly the sea salt caramel is the best selling.
If you haven't had it, you need to try it.
And then as far as just overall highest volume, you're probably looking at low water vodka. And honestly, our bourbons are some of the most popular too. The problem is, we're a small distillery. We only have so much bourbon.
Right.
So, and it takes years to make this stuff. We're bottling bourbon that's around 4.5 years, getting close to 5 years old now. So it's not something we can make quickly. If we say, we need more bourbon, we can make more bourbon, but it's 5 years before it's ready.
We're going to have to wait.
patience.
Now, I did read something that, like with everybody in business, you're always trying to think about what can we do next? Something about adopt a barrel. Is that?
Yes. So, we actually haven't really announced anything with this yet. But it's certainly an idea that we've thrown around. We've kind of got it figured out now. So in the bourbon world, single barrels and private barrels are a really big thing. You get a bourbon club come in, and we actually just had one in a week ago. They came in and sampled some barrels to figure out which barrel they want to buy. So it'll end up being a barrel that we put an extra label on that says, this barrel was picked by this club, and here's the barrel number and that kind of thing. Finished barrels of bourbon get fairly expensive, right? Yeah. So what the thought is we will offer, essentially different price points. And at different price points, you get more control. So if you come in and say, I want to pick a barrel and turn around and have you bottle it pretty quickly, then, we're looking at 4 and 5 year old barrels. And we're going to turn around and bottle it, and it's going to be a fairly high price. If you get a younger barrel, then we don't have to charge quite as high a price for it, but we also can't bottle it yet. So, the example would be you come in and we'll let you sample like some 2-year-old barrels. All right. Well, all of our labels say straight bourbon whiskey, and they don't have an age statement on them. So we cannot put that label on 2-year-old bourbon. It's got to be at least 4. So you get a different price point, a lower price point, because it's 2 years old. You have to wait a couple of years before we can barrel it. The other thing that it affords you, though, is you get to pick when it gets barreled. So if you like it at 4 years old, great. If you want to let it get 5 or 6, we'll let it sit on our bourbon stack, and you can come in and try it from time to time. And whenever you say, yep, I'm ready for you to bottle it, we'll bottle it for you. So that's going to be our barrel adoption program.
Yeah. It sounded, what little bit I, was able to read, it sounded pretty good. Like pretty great idea. Especially for, like you said, you've got bourbon clubs. I know there's one in our neighborhood. I think they meet on Wednesday. So I'm like, okay, but they really like bourbon. So yeah, I mean, for those kind of people that I can see them getting pretty excited about. I've tried it, and no offense to bourbon makers, I just haven't found the one I like yet. Maybe it's yours. I haven't tasted it, but yeah. But I was going to ask, can we go see where you guys make this stuff?
Absolutely.
All right. So, guys, that was pretty neat. Again, it looks like something out of a movie, a spaceship or something, but that's pretty cool by there, and it's nice and shiny too. Now, it wasn't air conditioned, but it wasn't terribly hot in there. I mean, I know it's a big building, but so you're not supposed to air condition because of the barrels, or is it you just haven't chosen to?
Well, a couple of different things. Number one, we haven't chosen to. You really need. It's a big building and it's a production building, so you really need it. The other thing is that we do have some barrels in there aging, and actually temperature fluctuation is really good for those. So as it gets hot, the bourbon absorbs into the barrel more, and as it gets cold, kind of gets pushed back out of the wood. And that honestly is what helps age your bourbon. So temperature fluctuation is a good thing. We want it hot in the summer and cold in the winter, which makes it a little bit inconvenient for tours. But people don't seem to mind too much. It's really not that hot over there.
And speaking of tours, do you give tours? I mean, do you have times again, maybe on your events calendars, or is that something y'all do?
Yes, we do give tours anytime we're open.
Okay.
Thursday afternoon, Friday, Saturday. Saturdays sometimes get a little busy, and we'll kind of limit it. We've got a few places out there that tours are 11, 1, 3, and 5.
Okay.
If we can accommodate outside of those times, we always will.
Sure.
But if we've got a packed house and, only 4 or 5 people working that day, it's going to be 11, 1, 3, and 5.
We usually will do the tour first. So if it is a little warm, we'll bring folks back in here where the air conditioning is and serve them a couple of drinks, and then they don't mind anymore. And
it wasn't bad. I know it's earlier in the day, but it wasn't bad at all. But I know that a lot of the area, I guess, behind that building is shaded. But I'm sure that doesn't help on those really, really hot summer August days. But thank y'all so much for allowing me to be here today. This is phenomenal, and it's beautiful. And that was, like I said, very interesting, and I appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Talking South Carolina podcast. Why not check out our website at talkingsouthcarolina.com and follow us on social media. You can subscribe to the show on Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and on your favorite podcast apps. For information about being a sponsor on the show and on the website, contact us at area code 803-386-9885 or email us at angela@talkingsouthcarolina.com. This episode has been brought to you by the friendly folks at Giraffe Marketing. Find out more at giraffemarketingllc.com.
I'm gonna be the best version of me. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, roar like a lion.